Okay, let's talk about Bob Dylan's Brownsville Girl. I mean, it's an 11-minute epic, right? It's this incredible journey through memory and regret, and this Gregory Peck movie that just keeps popping up. For decades, this song has completely fascinated people, but it's also left a lot of us scratching our heads. So what is really going on inside this sprawling masterpiece? Well, we're going to find out.
Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it? Is this thing just a huge, rambling, overstuffed mess? Or is it a brilliantly designed masterpiece of memory? That's what we're here to figure out. Together, we're going to peel back all these layers and find the incredible design that I promise you is hiding inside all that sprawl.
All right, here's our game plan. We'll start with that masterpiece or a mess question. Then we'll dive into the movie inside the song, figure out who this absent woman is, take a look at the narrator, and finally wrap it all up with why this song is still so powerful today.
All right, Section 1, a masterpiece or a mess? Let's get right into understanding the song's epic sprawl. Okay, so first things first, we gotta talk about the most obvious thing about this song, right? It's long, and it feels kinda chaotic. It just seems to wander all over the place. But here's the thing, as you're about to see, that's exactly the point. So think about how most songs work. They tell a story, right? You go from point A to B to C. It's linear. But Brownsville Girl does something completely different. It's not telling a story, it's showing us what it feels like to remember. And how does memory actually work? It's messy, it's fragmented, it jumps around, it loops back on itself. The song's structure isn't a flaw, it's intentional, it's memory in motion.
There's actually a name for this. It's called an orbit structure. And that's the perfect way to think about it. Instead of a straight line, the song circles around these central ideas. You know, the woman, that movie, this feeling of loss. And just like a planet in orbit, every time it comes back around, the emotional gravity gets stronger. It just pulls you deeper and deeper in.
So, let's look at the first big thing the song orbits around. Section 2, the movie inside the song, all about Gregory Peck and the Western Code. This is probably the most concrete layer, this old Western movie that the narrator just can't seem to get out of his head. And this is so important to get. Cinema is not just background here, it's one of the song's main languages. I mean, this movie isn't just some casual pop culture reference he throws in. It is literally the language he's using to try and make sense of his own life, his regrets, and even who he is.
And this gets at a really powerful idea, something called mediated memory. Think about it. It's almost like the narrator can't access his own past directly. It's too painful or too confusing, so he has to filter it. He has to watch it through the lens of this old movie, borrowing its scenes and its emotions. The film literally gives him a script for his own feelings.
So what does borrowing from a Western get you? Well, it gives his personal heartbreak this huge, mythic scale. Suddenly, it's not just his story. It gives him a language for his loneliness, these codes of honor and fatalism. It gives him this classic image of a man set apart. He turns his personal pain into something legendary, like he's the hero in his own epic American story.
Okay, moving on. Section 3, remembering an absence. We're talking about the ghost at the song's center. So let's peel back that movie layer. What's underneath? We find the song's real emotional heart, the Brownsville Girl herself. And the strange thing is, she's defined almost entirely by not being there.
See, this is not your standard breakup song. A normal breakup song tells you what happened, what was lost. Brownsville Girl doesn't really do that. Instead, it just immerses you in the experience of absence itself. It's about that ache, that longing, the way a person can haunt you years later. The real drama is in that feeling that just won't go away. And that right there is the central paradox of this whole song. The woman is everything. She's the center of it all. But she's also completely unreachable. She's a ghost, a projection of his own memory and his grief. You could say her absence is the very engine that makes the song go. So you might be wondering, with all this memory and drifting and circling, what stops the song from just floating away completely? Well, it's that famous refrain. That's the anchoring device. Every time he sings Brownsville Girl with your Brownsville curls, it's like dropping an anchor. No matter how far his mind wanders, that line yanks him and us right back to the heart of it all. That central, unresolved longing.
All right, Section 4, the hero of his story, or maybe the unreliable storyteller. Okay, so we've got this wandering memory, this ghost of a woman, but who's the guy telling us all this? Who is the I in this story? It's time to peel back one more layer and take a hard look at our narrator.
Because this guy isn't just remembering things. No, he's actively involved in what you could call self-mythology. He's turning his own life into a grand story. And guess who he's cast in the starring role? Himself. He's literally creating a persona, a mythic version of himself, and he's definitely borrowing a few of his best lines and coolest moves from Gregory Peck.
And what's so fascinating is that this role he's playing is totally unstable. It keeps shifting. One minute he's the detached observer, just watching things happen. The next he's the wounded sufferer. Then he's the restless drifter. And finally he's this kind of unreliable hero. It's this constant shifting that makes him feel so psychologically real. Because in real life, we're never just one thing, are we?
Okay, last section. Let's put this all together. Why this song endures, the core of the masterpiece. We've peeled back all these layers, so let's answer that first question. Why isn't this just some beautiful, complicated mess? What makes it a true masterpiece?
It's because the song's form perfectly matches its function. That sprawling, fragmented, looping structure, it's not a flaw. It's the point. It is the only way to honestly show how our minds actually work, how memory and movies and our own sense of self are all tangled up together. It's a perfect picture of the modern mind.
So here's the bottom line. Here's why it still matters so much. First, it's a map of our own lives, how we're all swimming in media. It proves that you don't need a straight line to get to a powerful emotional truth. In a world that's so fast, it really rewards you for just slowing down and listening. And maybe most importantly, it shows us that nostalgia, it's not always what it seems. It's often just a story we tell ourselves to paper over the cracks. And that's the question the song ultimately leaves us with, right? It turns the mirror back on us. It makes you ask yourself, how much of my own memory, my own history, is a story that I perform for myself? When you think about your past, your own big loves and losses, how much of that is what really happened? And how much is just a story you've created? Maybe even with a script you borrowed from somewhere else.